All right, ready for a deep dive. Today, we're looking at Autobiography of a Yogi.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is. And we're focusing on this one particular story.
Oh.
It's about a planned trip to the Himalayas that just goes hilariously wrong.
Hilariously wrong. I like where this is going.
Oh, it's good. And we're going to try to figure out why the narrator's trip keeps getting derailed. Bad luck. Coincidence. Or maybe something a little more.
Sounds intriguing. What's so fascinating is how the story blends the ordinary with the extraordinary. Like on the surface, it's these relatable, almost slapstick obstacles. But there's this underlying current, something hinting at, I don't know, maybe a hidden order or some kind of spiritual intervention.
Exactly. And it starts with the narrator. He's just dying to visit the Himalayas.
Right.
He's been trying to convince his dad to fund this trip for years.
Oh, I can relate to that. My parents were the same way.
And his dad's response, well, it's this mix of skepticism and amusement. He says, I hardly think your theoretical trip needs such practical props. Like, he doesn't believe his son will actually go.
It's like a challenge, isn't it? A prove it to me kind of thing.
Totally. But eventually, the father caves. And that's when the guru, Sri Yukteswar, comes into the picture. And his stance on the trip is, well, it's curiously non-committal.
That's interesting. It's one of those first little hints that there might be more to this story than meets the eye.
Right. The guru doesn't say no, but he doesn't exactly say yes either.
Like he knows something the narrator doesn't yet.
It really makes you wonder if he's setting the stage for the narrator to learn something through this whole experience.
Absolutely. There's a sense that maybe he's guiding events from behind the scenes, orchestrating these lessons for his student.
So the narrator, he's undeterred. He's determined to go, even with the guru's, let's say, ambiguous blessing. He's so set on it that he even invites a servant along.
Oh, wow. He's really going all in.
He is. And then he comes back from Calcutta, all ready to leave for Kashmir, and bam, things start to unravel in the most unexpected ways.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat here. What happens?
Well, first, the guru himself suddenly announces he's not going.
What?
Yeah, just like that. Leaving the narrator to decide, travel alone or not.
Wow, that's a curveball. Do you think it was just a random change of plans? Or was it deliberate? Like a test?
That's a great question, and I'm leaning towards the latter, especially with what happens next. The servant, Bahari, the one he invited, vanishes.
Vanishes. Poof. Gone. Right before the trip.
Okay, now that's just strange. Like, seriously strange.
It's a real turning point in the story. Almost surreal, like, are there forces beyond the narrator's control at work here?
Yeah, it throws a wrench in his plans, that's for sure.
But he doesn't give up. He goes to his uncle to borrow a servant.
Makes sense. Gotta have someone to carry the luggage, right?
But instead of a simple yes or no, he gets this over-the-top reaction.
Real?
The uncle jumps out of his chair, scattering papers everywhere. His pipe goes flying.
Wow. Talk about an overreaction.
It makes you wonder, was it just the uncle? Or was something else influencing things, you know?
Yeah, like a hidden force working against the journey. Totally. So finally, the narrator's friends, they've had enough waiting. They decide to leave for Calcutta without him, figure they'll catch the train to Kashmir with or without him.
So he's really on his own now.
He is, and just when you think things can't get any weirder, he gets hit with these excruciating stomach pains.
Oh no, what now?
It's bad. It turns out it's Asiatic cholera.
Cholera. That's serious.
Deadly serious back then. And the timing of it all, it's almost like the universe itself is stepping in like, nope, you're not going.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
This illness, it throws him into a crisis. He's in so much pain, he cries out, Master, I surrender my life to you.
Wow, what a powerful statement.
It shows a real shift in his mindset. He's going from like self-determination to recognizing something bigger than himself.
That's about trust, right? Letting go of control.
Exactly. And what happens next is incredible. The guru tells him he's healed, and the pain, gone. Just like that.
Seriously. Just like that.
Instantly. It's a miraculous recovery. Even the doctor who comes the next day is baffled.
He must have thought he was seeing things.
Then, just when you think the drama's over, the friends come back from Calcutta, luggage in tow.
Oh, so they didn't make it to Kashmir?
Nope. Turns out, their train, it left for Kashmir, and then came right back.
You're kidding. The train just turned around.
Like it went on a little joyride and decided, nope, going back home.
That's wild. It's like the journey itself was just not meant to be.
It really seems that way. Finally, the narrator gets the message. He accepts that he can't go to the Himalayas without his guru's blessing.
There's a real sense of surrender there. He's not fighting against whatever's happening anymore.
He's finally going with the flow.
It's a powerful lesson, isn't it? Sometimes letting go of our desires,
Yeah.
even our carefully made plans, opens us up to something bigger.
Absolutely. It makes you rethink what we often see as failures or setbacks.
Maybe they're actually opportunities, right? For growth, for redirection.
Exactly. And that's something for all of us to think about. Have you ever had a plan fall apart only to realize later it led you to something better?
It happens more often than you'd think.
It really does, and that's just the beginning of this wild story. We'll dive deeper into the spiritual side of things in our next segment, so stay tuned.
Can't wait. This is fascinating stuff.
It is, and we'll be right back after a short break.
It's amazing how everything just seems to conspire against this trip, right?
It really is. I mean, a disappearing servant, a furious uncle, cholera, a train that turns around. Like, what are the odds?
It's almost like a cosmic comedy sketch.
Yeah, there's definitely a humorous element to it for sure.
Yeah.
But there's also this deeper message about surrender, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Like the universe is saying, this is not your path, not right now.
Right. And it's fascinating how the guru never actually forbids the trip, but he also doesn't give a clear blessing either.
It's a very subtle form of guidance, almost like a test.
Exactly. By not intervening directly, the guru allows the narrator to face these obstacles head on and really grapple with his desires.
And learn the value of surrender, right? Exactly. But it does raise the question, doesn't it? How much agency do we really have in our own lives? Are we really in control? Or are there forces beyond our control shaping our path?
It's a good question, and this story seems to suggest the latter. But it also suggests that even within those constraints, we still have the power to choose how we respond to the challenges we face.
I think that's key. So how do you interpret the guru's actions then? Manipulative? Or something else?
It's hard to say. It's tricky.
Maybe it's not about manipulation, but about guiding the narrator toward a different kind of understanding.
Interesting.
He could have just said, no, don't go.
Right.
But instead, he allows the narrator to experience the futility of trying to force his will against the tide.
It's like he's giving him space to figure it out on his own.
Exactly. It's like learning to swim.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have to struggle a bit before you find your rhythm.
Oh, I like that analogy.
The guru's the wise swimming instructor, letting the narrator flail around a bit before stepping in to guide him.
And through this whole process, the narrator learns that crucial lesson about surrender.
Yeah, that sometimes letting go of our desires, our plans, can actually open us up to something bigger.
Like man plans, God laughs.
Exactly. We think we have it all figured out, and then life throws a curveball.
Or a disappearing servant, a furious uncle, and a case of cholera.
Exactly. But those curveballs, they can be catalysts for growth.
Even though they don't feel like it at the time.
They force us to reevaluate, to question our assumptions, and ultimately to surrender to a wisdom beyond our own understanding.
So in this case, the narrator's failed trip to Kashmir becomes this spiritual journey in itself.
Exactly, a journey inward towards self-discovery and surrender.
It makes you reconsider what we often perceive as failures or setbacks.
Maybe they're actually opportunities for growth and redirection.
Have you ever had a plan fall apart, only to realize later that it led to something better? I think we all have those moments.
All the time. It reminds us that sometimes the universe, or maybe a higher power, has a different plan for us, one that might even be more fulfilling than what we originally wanted.
It's like missing a flight, right?
Yes, or a train.
You're frustrated at first, but then you find out the one you missed was delayed, or worse, had an accident.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Was there a reason, a purpose behind that missed connection?
Those what-if moments can really shake your perspective, make you think about all the unseen forces that might be at play in our lives, guiding us, protecting us.
Redirecting us.
Exactly. Even when we're totally unaware.
And it's not always these big life-altering events either, is it?
No, not at all.
Sometimes it's these small things, little nudges, synchronicities, those unexpected encounters that shift our course.
It's about paying attention, being aware of those whispers of intuition.
The seemingly random things that might actually be pointing us in a whole new direction.
This story highlights the importance of trusting the process, even when things feel like they're falling apart.
It's the essence of surrender, right?
Letting go of control, allowing ourselves to be guided by something bigger than ourselves.
Even if we don't fully understand it. So what can we learn from this story? What are the takeaways here?
I think it comes down to a few things. First, be open to the possibility that what you think you want might not be what's best for you. Second, pay attention to the signs, the synchronicities, even the little things. They might be guiding you towards something else. And finally, trust the process. Surrender to the flow, even when it's chaotic, You might be surprised where it takes you.
That's a great way to put it. It's a reminder that even when our plans crumble, when we face those seemingly impossible obstacles, there's a bigger picture at play.
It's about trusting that we're being guided, even when we don't understand the how or the why.
You know, it's interesting how the narrator is so fixated on actually getting to the Himalayas.
Yeah, like it's the answer to everything.
Right, like reaching that destination will solve all his problems, answer all his questions.
It's that classic thing, wanting what we think we want without really understanding why.
He sees the Himalayas as this, like, mystical, magical place.
But he's missing the inner journey, the spiritual growth that can happen anywhere, really.
He's looking for that external validation, that quick fix.
Rather than doing the internal work.
Exactly. And it's like the universe, or maybe the guru, is kind of nudging him toward that realization.
Through all these, well, kind of funny, kind of frustrating roadblocks.
That's right. Like, hey, the real journey is within. The Himalayas aren't going to magically solve everything.
So the trip not happening, it becomes a catalyst for this much deeper journey.
He has to confront his attachments, his need for control.
And ultimately, surrender.
What do you think's harder, a physical journey or an internal one?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's easier to focus on the external stuff, checking things off a list.
Than facing our own, well, inner stuff, right? Fears, limiting beliefs.
But the real transformation comes from that inner work.
It seems like sometimes the universe, or a higher power, steps in.
To redirect us.
Yeah.
Even if it messes with our plans.
Even if it causes a little suffering.
It's like there's this force that sees the bigger picture.
The karmic threads, maybe.
And guides us toward, our highest good.
Even when we resist, or have no clue what that even is. Makes you wonder if we're all on some kind of divine detour sometimes.
Being nudged toward a path that's, I don't know, maybe more aligned with our soul's purpose.
Even if it doesn't make logical sense.
I love that. A divine detour. It's those moments when we feel lost or confused, maybe even frustrated.
And those are the opportunities to surrender.
To trust in something bigger, even if we don't get it.
This whole conversation has really changed how I think about challenges and setbacks.
Me too.
It's a good reminder that those things, those obstacles,
might actually be blessings in disguise.
Leading us toward, well, where we're supposed to be.
Exactly. So what are your final thoughts on this? What can our listeners take away from all this?
This story from Autobiography of a Yogi, it's a powerful lesson in surrender and trust.
It is.
We're not always in control. Sometimes the best thing to do is just let go.
Let go of the plans, embrace the unknown.
Pay attention to the signs, the synchronicities.
Those unexpected turns, they might be leading us somewhere amazing.
Better than anything we could have planned.
Beautifully said.
So as we wrap up, we want you to think about your own journeys.
Have there been times when things didn't go according to plan? When goals got derailed?
Looking back, did those detours lead to something better, something more? Well,
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the unexpected, the mysterious, and that transformative power of surrender.
It's been a great conversation.
Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.